raise and arm swing are relatively the same thing, right? So it's the timing or it's the actual action of this, okay? So that's hand raise, arm swing, okay? So why I'm so passionate about that timing in relation to front foot strike is for multiple reasons, okay? So one being pushing ball into release, okay? So we see a lot of pushy arm action patterns. So some guys with the pushy arm action pattern kind of rotate into this elbow leading throw like they're throwing darts, right? So I'm going to talk from the mechanical standpoint, not the mental standpoint, because I have kind of two different theories on that. So from the mechanical standpoint, going back to the importance of hand raise, arm swing, when we are early with the dynamic of hand raise, right? This is what happens. The trunk begins to rotate prematurely. Okay, the trunk cannot delay rotation through time and space while you're driving if the hand is up here. It can delay rotation if the hand is beginning its ascend to hand raise, arm swing, okay? So guys that are early with the hand now begin to go early with the trunk, right? So say at front foot strike, the hand is here and the trunk is here. So now the trunk beginning to prematurely rotate can't effectively pull the arm through, right? So since you're already rotated before the anchor comes down, which is that lead leg, right? That lead foot. Now, the only thing you really can do is the opposite of aggression, push that arm through, right? Now, I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, to watch a lot of my stuff on the dynamic of pushy arm action versus pulling arm action, right? And utilizing the big muscles, because that is one major thing that I see, and it all stems from the timing of this and the relation to our anchor point, which is that front foot coming down to touchdown. Okay, so right off the bat, you see that the importance of the timing and why it being early is bad for that pushy arm action, right? Second reason is same kind of thing, but a branch off of that is you limit your hip shoulder separation. Okay, so same thing, right? If your hand is early, you can't delay trunk, so the trunk just starts to go, right? So when the trunk starts to go, you can't get that optimal amount of separation from the shoulders to the hips, because now they're going together, right? They're going together. And more oftentimes than not, I see, especially with young guys, is they're moving together from the start, and you don't have, there's a lot of people that don't have the body awareness and body control to segment hip rotation, right? So hips rotate, the hand delays to raise, okay? So that delays the trunk, right? So then while the hips are going, the hand is coming up, delay that trunk from rotating, now you have authentic separation. All right, so if the hand is early, the trunk begins its rotation. Now they're moving together and you are not able to segment that. So probably should have started this differently, because that one is the most important, because the amount of separation and the amount of stretch is a direct link to power output, velocity. I'm on a huge kick of this right now, because you look across the board at any high power output pitcher, literally show me one that throws 95 plus. And they are fantastic when it comes to this move, okay? I'm probably not gonna be able to do it because it's hard, but it's right? So that front foot comes down right when this arm, this hand comes up, okay? That move right there is unreal. That's the move. Okay, so then it's like, how do we go about it? Well, everyone's gonna be different, right? But, so you have two things right off the bat from why the timing is so important. Now, there's obviously more things than that. because anything in the game of baseball is just timing. But I think from what I've seen is the early hand limits a ton of velocity, but it's a fine line, right? Because you don't want to be late. You don't want to have arm drag. And I think over time, more instructors will say, hey, get the hand out on time. I know I was taught in professional ball to get the hand out on time. All right, so now, more oftentimes than not, the brain is going to perceive time as in going slower. So now you limit acceleration. I can go on and on about this. But, and then the third thing that I would say is the release of rotational energy prematurely. Now, we want to build up as much rotational energy, right? So it's the same thing with like the stretch, hip shoulder separation, create that stretch. So we want to build up this rotational energy, this torque, and we want to release it at the right time. When is the right time? The right time is that move, okay? So what we see a lot of times is the hand, right? So hand raise is early, the trunk begins its rotation. You're now releasing rotational energy early, and the direction of that rotational energy is now compensated because it's pulling. Instead of delaying hand, building rotational energy, releasing it at the right time, now it's being released not only on time, but it's being released in a linear direction towards our desired target. That's effortless velocity, sustainable velocity. Garrett Cole, Scherzer, DeGrom, all of these guys, their timing is impeccable, and they're able to leverage their arm. They're able to create that stretch. They're able to release that rotational energy in the direction of their target and on time. Crazy. Now, the next thing is the progression from flat to mound, because obviously when we step on a mound, we're gonna have a slope, which is more space now for that front foot to go, more room for it to go before front foot strike, okay? Whereas on a flat, we're flat, the space is whatever, X, and then on a slope, it's gonna be more space. So then that's where we really see mound breakdowns, is because there's more space to go with that front foot. The hand timing hasn't delayed on a mound yet, hasn't efficiently trained those motor patterns on a mound yet. So it has it on a flat, doesn't have it on a mound. So then it flips up earlier on a mound, right? That rotational energy starts to leak, right? So then the shoulder, the trunk starts to go. So you have all of those problems. And again, this is happening like that, right? Milliseconds of time, but a huge difference when it comes to the goal of pitching velocity, right? So that's why you see a lot of guys that have that, say, a pull down or a flat ground velo of 100, and then they get on a mound and it's 85. It's that little timing, right? The torque is going, the rotational energy is going. You're limiting separation, that stretch, right? So it's like you're pulling the band, and then right when it's time to almost release the band, you give tension, right? So that band that was once right here now begins to give a little bit of tension. Okay, now it's time to release, boom. So you limit that added, right? That little bit of area right there that could have been a potential velocity, 3 to 5 miles an hour. You limit that because you were early. So then that band creeps up here and then you let it go instead of pulling it to the max capacity, right? And now it's time, boom, on time. So you create all of that stretch, all of that leverage, let it go, boom, right? And not start going early. So then you have to give way, give ground, okay? Wow, saw that analogy on the go. Sorry about it. Hopefully that made sense. As always, sign up for your analysis. Work with me in person. Let's get those gains, dude, because there's some dope progressions that I have for these breakdowns. Now I'm gonna throw this ball and it's gonna hit exactly where I want it to go. I'll just say it did, make me look cool. See you guys.